Tuesday, my friends, and welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. On today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be bringing you our mock draft 2.0 for the 2026 draft cycle. Sorry, Izzy, I forgot to add you onto the show, so let me just do that real quick, brother. My bad.
What's going on, guys?
I must have hit the wrong button.
I thought it was invisible here.
But yeah, please like, share, subscribe to the podcast if you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World. I'm your host, David On Point Hubble, right there, CEO, Mr. Izzy Rivera. Welcome to the show, brother. It's been a minute since you did a show together, so let's go.
Been a minute. It's been since probably the NFL playoffs. So, but you know, after the draft, we'll probably be talking about some fantasy, kicking that up a little bit. Yeah, some pre-fantasy looks, baby. Let's go.
But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Some different, definitely. So if you watched my mock draft, I did a top 10. My mock has changed a ton since that mock draft because things have changed in the National Football League for damn sure, as it never changed. I mean, we had free agency since I put that mock draft together. We also had a bunch of trades in the National Football League since I put that mock together. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the first overall pick, and it could not be more of a secret if they wanted it to be. Got the Raiders on the clock. Izzy, in your mock draft, who are the Raiders taking? And it's the worst kept secret in the National Football League who the Raiders are going to take in this draft.
The Raiders are taking from Indiana, the Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza. And he couldn't be more of a Raider by the way he perceives himself. He's a classy kid, very energetic, very jubilant, accurate, has very high football IQ, can push the ball downfield. He's a great teammate. He's got great size. I think he's 6'5", 6'6", 220 something, 230 pounds, whatever, 215 pounds, whatever. But he's got it. He's got the it factor, as you saw the one play where he, went through 3-4 defenders in Miami to score the touchdown in the red zone. That just sums up Fernando Mendoza all in a nutshell.
6'5", 230.
And he is what Al Davis would have wanted at the quarterback position. A guy, tough nose, kind of guy that's just a fearless leader. The one thing I do have a knock on with Fernando Mendoza is, after when he doesn't have that first, possibly second read, he's really a first read kind of quarterback. What scares me is he doesn't really go through his progressions, but he really didn't need to go through his progressions a lot at Indiana, as Kirk Cignetti had that offense pretty much. It was a one progression type of offense, and he was very accurate in between 5 and 10 yards. So yeah, Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders.
Yeah, I got that too. I usually try to spice up my mock drafts from like number 1 to number 2. But this just feels like he's for sure going to be the pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think there's any question about which way the Raiders are going to go when it comes to this particular mock draft. I think where things get interesting is number 2. Now we have the New York Jets on the clock now. I had them taking safety Caleb Downs from Ohio State, but since then I've changed it to a different Ohio State player. I have Arvell Reese, the linebacker at Ohio State, going to the Jets as an edge rusher. Obviously, they traded away Jeremiah Johnson II during this free agency cycle to the Tennessee Titans, and so they need to address edge rusher. They need to do that anyways, but Arvell Reese is probably the best edge rusher in this particular draft class, and gives you immediate upside. Those Ohio State guys always just seem to pan out in the National Football League, and I think he's going to be a good football player. 6'4", 241. He feels as safe a pick as you can make in this particular draft cycle.
I got the same guy, Arvell Reese as well. Going to the New York Jets. Not really a big particular need for them, but I think they just go kind of best player available. I think at this juncture,
I think when you're the Jets and you look at the roster that the Jets, I know they did some decent stuff in free agency, but they have a lot of holes in this roster. I mean, there makes no sense to draft on team needs. Like, you need to be taking the best players on the board throughout your entire draft. Like, because this isn't going to be a team that's like one piece away from being super competitive.
I agree.
So
I totally agree with that. And that's why Arvell Reese is the pick here. Is big, got prototypical linebacker size, can move sideline to sideline, plays the run great, plays the pass great. He's a freak of nature. You can actually blitz him off the edge. I know edge was kind of a need for them, but you kind of get 2-in-1 here with a linebacker and a kind of an edge need with Arvell Reese. I know he would probably be more or less like a middle linebacker, projects with that, but you can put him all over the field and he can thrive. I can
Yes,
see
69 tackles last season at Ohio State, 6.5 sacks, two pass deflections. I mean, the dude, was a very good defensive
freaking
player.
nature. Yeah, very good defensive player. Yeah, so can't miss with that guy.
From there, we're going to swing into the Arizona Cardinals, who are now on the clock. Izzy, who you got the Cardinals going with the third overall pick?
I'm in the same boat with the third overall pick. I think here it is. You got teams that, obviously Kyler Murray's no longer there. They got Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew mania. And I think they're content with rolling those guys out this season, David, just because of next year's quarterback class. Obviously,
I also think that there's nobody to take at 3 at the quarterback.
Big drop off. Yeah, because right here would have been Dante Moore, but obviously Dante Moore came back to Oregon, so Dante Moore is off the table, and so now you have Ty Simpson, who's probably a tweener, late first rounder, early second round draft pick. So right here, you have to draft on team need. I was on the fringe a little bit, with possibly going with Jeremiah Love, but they still have, James Conner. I know they went and got Tyler Algier from Atlanta.
James Conner might be a cap cut. I don't know, because he's just been banged up for the majority of the last 2 seasons. And so running back will be a need for this team, even if they brought in Tyler Algier, and they still have a plethora of just like running backs on the roster right now.
So and we still got Trey Benson, Bam Knight. They like you said, a plethora of running backs. But I think they got to go with best available and who other than like Sonny Styles, going back to back Ohio State linebackers here. Sonny Styles ran a 4.3 40 in the draft.
He put a clinic on the combine.
Clinic at the combine and really raised his drop stock into a top 3 pick here. I got the Arizona Cardinals going Sonny Styles, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went Jeremiah Love here.
I'm staying with Ohio State, but I'm going a different position. I got them taking Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State, 6 feet, 206. ESPN has them ranked as the number 2 prospect in this particular cycle. The dude is just an absolute, he's a ball hawk. He's a good football player at the safe position. He's everything you want at that position. And I think the secondary is a need for the, for the Cardinals. As Buda Baker's not going to play forever. I don't remember who plays free safety for them off the top of my head, but he's the best player available. And when you're the Cardinals and you have as many needs as they have, I mean, you got to take the best player on the board. And Sonny Styles he's a very good football player. I have him going a little bit later in this mock draft, but that's just the way. Yeah.
It's Dadrian Taylor Demerson, DTD.
Yeah. So he's probably not, a real needle mover. So the Cardinals get a guy. Right. So, number 3 overall, Ohio State. I mean,
he would have been Caleb Downs would have been if he was able to come out last year, because I think he was a true sophomore last year. He would have been a top 3 pick last year.
Yeah, so
the
dude, yeah, he's good. From there, we got the Tennessee Titans on the clock, and I know if you're watching the show, I have not updated their logo. I was a little bit busy today, and I didn't get a chance. And if you don't know, the Titans have a new logo. If you check it out, it's pretty cool. They went back to like the Houston blue with that lighter blue. Along with the red, it looks sharp as hell. It's going to be very cool. But yeah, Tennessee Titans, new logo. Still got Cam Ward there. And then Titans on the clock at number 4 overall. I have them going with the wide receiver position. I got them taking Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver out of Arizona State. Shout out to Matthew James, big Arizona State fan there. But Jordan Tyson, I think, is number 1 wide receiver in this particular class. And the Titans have to give him some weapons. I know they kept Ridley there for this particular season, but the other guys are just they're not number 1s and number 2s wide receivers. The kid for Eric Minor, the kid from Stanford, and then the kid who led the NFL in total yards from scrimmage this season. His name is escaping me off the top of my head, but those guys are just not big time NFL wide receivers. Jordan Tyson should be.
Jordan Tice is a hell of a pick. I actually have the Tennessee Titans going with Jeremiah Love in this situation. I'll tell you why, man. I know Tony Pollard had an okay season. Tajay Spears, okay running back, nice little change of pace, maybe third down back. But Jeremiah Love is a 3 down back. And he's a special talent. And I'm not just saying that because he's a Notre Dame. I'm a Notre Dame guy, and I love Notre Dame. But Jeremiah Love just fits it. They need the best available, offensive option here to help out Cam Ward. And what better than to bring in a stud running back like Jeremiah Love to be in the backfield with him. So give me Jeremiah Love. You pair him with Tony Pollard, and you have a pretty nice tandem back there. The play action pass should open it up for Calvin Ridley and Elick Almanor, which I think Elick Almanor has great size. Year 2, we'll see what he does, because I think he has some good potential down there in Tennessee. So
if that did happen, he would be the highest drafted running back since Saquon Barkley. So,
and he's worth it. He's worth it. I think Jeremiah Love is totally worth being a top 5 pick.
From there, we got the New York Football Giants on the clock. Shout out to Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz blog. And if you have not checked out his website, he did post a new mock draft last week. So that's on the Daily Blitz blog. Go check out that stuff from Christian content. Shameless plug number 1, Christian. Shout out to you, brother. But Giants on the clock. Izzy, who do you got the Giants taking at number 5?
I got the Giants going wide receiver as well, but I don't got them going Jordan Tyson. Even though I like Jordan Tyson's potential, I got to go with Carnell Tate of Ohio State. I just think the proof is in the pudding. He had an excellent season last year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I think, with Malik Neighbors kind of coming off of that injury, you need to add another, kind of big wide receiver, a guy that can run routes, that can take it deep as well. And I think he'll be a game changer right off the bat for Jackson Dart and the New York Giants. So give me Carnell Tate, Ohio State. That's 3 Ohio State guys. Oh, no, that's 3 Ohio State guys in my draft going in the top 5. Incredible. And they didn't make the national championship.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were close.
Yeah.
I'm going with the offensive tackle position. One of the main priorities for the New York Giants this offseason has to be protecting Jackson Dart. I mean, he was just too banged up and too injured to continue to move forward the way that they've been moving forward. And I apologize in advance if I'm going to butcher this last name because it's a doozy. But the offensive tackle from Miami, his name is Francis Mwagigaya? Maya Gaia? I don't know.
Malgoa or whatever. Yeah.
Maya Goa.
We're gonna call him Big Francis.
Big Francis. He is big. 6'6", 329 pounds. Drafting Alex Neal a couple years ago was an absolute bust. Has barely been able to stay healthy, and when he has played, he hasn't been good. And the great thing about Big Francis, he started 26 games in college, but all of them at the right tackle position. You have Andrew Thomas on this roster who plays left tackle, so you wouldn't have to do the awkward transition from left tackle to right tackle to left tackle in the NFL. He can be a day 1 starter at right tackle. The priority has to be for the Giants to protect Jackson Dart above all else. And I have the first offensive tackle going at 5 to the New York Football Giants. And Christian, if you're watching, let us know what you think about those 2 picks in our mock draft here, 2.0.
Absolutely. So Washington Redskins, right, are next on the clock.
No, the next team at number 6.
Is Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns, and they're also not called that anymore, even if it was.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Damn.
Number 6 on the clock, we have the Cleveland Browns. I know you still have a lot of uncertainty at the quarterback position. You have a lot of uncertainty about a bunch of stuff in this roster, including offensive line, as they have tried to retool that entire unit because everybody was a free agent on that offensive line this offseason. But I think the number 1 goal for the Cleveland Browns this cycle has to be get some weapons around Shedeur Sanders. If he's going to be the guy, you got to give him a real opportunity to be the guy. And I got Carnell Tate staying in the state of Ohio, moving from Columbus to Cleveland, 6'2", 192 pounds, arguably the best wide receiver in this particular cycle. But yeah, that's why I have the Cleveland Browns taking. If they're going to give Shedeur Sanders a real shot at this, they got to give him some weapons. what's his name? Just Jared Judy, not cutting it in the National Football League. So they got to move off of him. They have the tight end who I know you're high on. I like. His name is totally
Harold Fanning.
Yeah, Harold Fanning. Yeah, and I think Quinson Judkins, if he can come back off that injury, should be a good running back for this football team. But the wide receiving core needs work. Carnell Tate is an immediate upgrade. Should be a day one number one for this football team.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with you, David, on that one. But since he's since the Giants took Carnell Tate already, I'm actually gonna go with. I agree with you on the weapons. I think they can possibly sneak around and possibly get a couple weapons. Maybe
they do have 2 first-round picks. They have the Jaguars pick later in the draft, so they if they don't address wide receiver here, they could do it later.
Yeah, exactly, at number 24. So I think right now you cannot pass up on Big Francis. Here, I'm not going to butcher his name either, David. Yeah, you can't go. He's the best tackle in the draft. He's big. And what happened with the Cleveland Browns? Shedeur Sanders was the most hit quarterback. I think all Browns quarterbacks were the most hit quarterbacks in the league. That offensive line was just absolutely atrocious this past season, off season. So you got to get somebody to protect that blind side. At the quarterback position, you still owe. I mean, Deshaun Watson is still owed a ton of money, so we don't know who's rolling out in week 1. It might be Shedeur, it might be Deshaun, it might be.
It's gonna. I mean, who knows? I guess who knows?
Dylan. I doubt it's Dylan. I think there will be a battle for Shedeur and Deshaun. I think if it is going to be the same situation, right? Deshaun doesn't play well, then there'll be cries for Dylan, right, or for Shedeur. But you need. I
think Shedeur Sanders is going to get every chance to be the starting quarterback of this football team.
I think you, and I think right now, who knows,
right?
Who knows? You need somebody to protect those guys, and you got to get the best tackle available there in the Cleveland. They need all the help that they can get in Cleveland at the tackle position. So give me Francis Mugawa.
I agree with you on the offensive tackle situation, but there's just because Big Francis is already off the board here for me.
Yeah,
they had to go a different direction, which ended up being wide receiver. From there, we got the Washington Commanders on the clock at number 7. Izzy, who do you got the Commanders taking at number 7 here?
Oh, at number 7, I think this is an easy one for me. And I'm going Caleb Downs. He's still there on the draft in the draft. I'm going with Caleb Downs. They need safety help. They need a lot of help in Washington. I was on the fence, him or Kenyon Sadiq. I do think that they can go either direction because I think Kenyon Sadiq's the guy that you can edge him out. He's kind of like that Aaron Hernandez. I haven't seen a guy like Aaron Hernandez till I saw Kenyon Sadiq last year, and he's the prototypical kind of hybrid wide receiver type of tight end that can block, that can also go out into the slot, and he can take advantage of linebackers and slot guys, run seam routes. But I like Caleb Downs. You can't pass up Caleb Downs right here if he's available, if you're the Washington Commanders.
Not to mention Kenyon Sadiq. He's not my pick here, but the dude just blew up on the combine. He went from being like a fringe first-round pick to he's going to be in the top 15 to 20 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, for the Commanders, Jeremiah Love is just chilling there at number 7. The Commanders basically run up to the clock and they're like, we're going to take him. He's going to be him and Jaden Daniels are going to be the 1-2 punch of the future. They lost. I know they have Bill McCarskey-Merritt, but as we saw as the season went on last season, he became less and less effective as the season went on. He's not an every down back. He's a fine chase of pace back. They also lost 2 of their other running backs. Jeremiah Love from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish becomes the Washington Commanders' number 1 running back. So kudos to that.
If he's still there, like you said, David, they are running to the draft board and picking him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
From there, we're going to go down to the Bayou and talk about the New Orleans Saints, number 8 overall pick. I have the Saints because this guy kind of fell into their lap as well. I know there's some concerns about his hand length or arm length, but I got Ruben Bain, the stud defensive end out of the University of Miami, was an absolute game-changer game record during the college football playoff last season. And he goes from Miami out to the Bayou. Quick little 7 or 8 hour drive from Miami. Actually, it might be 10 hours going from New Orleans to Miami. But he becomes a New Orleans Saint.
Yeah, the one thing that concerns me about having Ruben Bain there in New Orleans is he's gonna play. He's gonna play in the 3-4, but he's used to playing in the 4-3. So there's gonna be some plays where he may not have his hand in the dirt, or he's gonna be playing in 5 technique as opposed to playing in 7 tech, playing wide out in a 7. Sometimes he'll be even playing because they go in 3-4. Sometimes they go TNT, so he'll be head on, right? So Ruben Bain is used to kind of getting them one-on-ones on tackles. If they're playing a 3-4, it's kind of hard. I didn't really see Ruben kind of standing up a lot here, but I love the pick there in New Orleans for Ruben Bain that you got there. If I'm gonna go with a guy, man, I'm going Makai Lemon here from USC. I know that his draft stock was a little, with the interview and stuff, but you can't pass up on a guy that has that type of dynamic potential. On the outside, he just made play after play at USC. I know it might be a little too high for Makai Lemon, but I think that New Orleans, if we're looking at skill and how these guys are progressing in the NFL, a guy like JSN, a guy like before him, Cooper Kupp, or a guy like Puka Nakua, you got a guy like Makai Lemon that could do it all. Slot receiver, outside, he can do a little bit of both. So yeah, I'm going Makai Lemon. This is another Kenyon Sadiq kind of fringe pick I was on the fence here about.
100%.
Yeah. So
to number 9 on the clock, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Many people had this as the possible Jeremiah Love landing point, but obviously since they brought in Kenneth Walker the third on big time money, probably not going to be in the market for a running back in this draft, at least not early. But number 9, and weird to see Kansas City drafting this early when it comes to, obviously they traded away. They lost both their starting corners in free agency. Izzy, what you got the Kansas City Chiefs doing at number 9? Where's spot here at number 9 for the Kansas City?
Number 9, and you want to know something? He's finally off the board. Kenyon Sadiq is a Kansas City Chief, and he is going to take that torch away from Travis Kelce. Imagine having Travis and having Kenyon on the same field at the same time. That is scary. And Andy Reid is going to love this guy. He's going to use him in all types of different scenarios. And I mean, you go from having one great tight end for 10 plus years to possibly having another great tight end for 10 plus years. The rich get richer here for Kansas City. And it just ushers in a new era. Like I've been saying, the Kansas City Chiefs are reloading. The AFC better watch out, because when Patrick Mahomes comes back, that team is going to be completely different with a lot of younger weapons, very skilled weapons, and Kansas City is going to be part of that future.
I don't hate it. When I was originally putting this mock draft, I had him there, but I changed my mind like a couple hours ago. I have them taking arguably the best corner in this draft, coming from cornerback U, which is LSU. If you didn't know, Mansour Delaney, the cornerback out of LSU, best corner in this particular draft class. You lose McDuffie, you also lose Watson via trade and free agency. At least their secondary pretty depleted right now, and it's more of a dressing need, in my opinion, than the tight end situation, because they still have Watson, who's still a tight end at the position. They have the other guy too. Noah Gray is also on this team. Yeah. Not Noah Gray, right? Because isn't Noah Gray the dude who played for the Bulls back in the day?
It actually is Noah Gray.
Okay,
it actually is Noah Gray. Trey Watson is who you're thinking of.
Yeah. So I got them going corner. They got to. I mean, if this team wants to compete, I mean, they're going to need a secondary given the division that they play in. It's going to be throwing the football a ton. So yeah, I got the Chiefs taking Mansour Delaney.
And day one, I have to think, Patrick Mahomes is coming off that ACL injury. Day one's probably going to be Justin Fields starting in Kansas City, possibly.
No, if I had a crystal ball, which I don't currently have one in my hand, but I do think that he will be ready to go for week 1.
Mahomes?
Yeah, somehow.
Are you kidding me?
I think he'll be ready.
He tore his ACL, man.
I know. The ACL. The thing is, like the recovery timeline for the ACL recovery has for sure changed in the National Football League. Like,
Jesus Christ, man! Well, but why are we rushing? Okay, this is another conversation for another day.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Moving on from there, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Lost Joe Burrow for big chunks of last season. They did sign Joe Flacco today as he continues to play in the National Football League for whatever it's worth. But I have them addressing their biggest need. I mean, they lost Trey Hendrickson in free agency, and most people have this particular player way higher on their big board than where he's going to fall in this particular mock draft. And if you watched my mock draft last time, I had him go number 2 overall. I think it was number 2 to the Jets or number 3 overall to the Cardinals. But I have David Bailey, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech, 6'3", 251 pounds, had 14 and a half sacks last season, was just an 3 forced fumbles as well. Just an absolute game changer at the edge position. And hopefully you can get a little more production out of basically what was a redshirt season out of his name. I'll have to look it up, but hopefully you have those 2 guys as your edge rushers of the future, and start to actually build up a decent defense there in Cincinnati, because it's been a liability for a while.
I got an edge rusher going because he's still on my board, and that's Ruben Bain, the best edge rusher available. And all for the reasons that you said. You lose Trey Hendrickson. Now you get Ruben Bain. You usher in like you said, his arms are a little on the shorter end, but you can't teach speed. He's a menace around the corner, around the edge.
Samar Stewart, the kid they took last year in the first round pick. Yeah, Samar Stewart, the kid from Texas.
And Ruben Bain just absolutely is a game changer and a game wrecker. So.
From there, we got the 11th overall pick. We have the Miami Dolphins on the clock, who have been very busy this offseason. Obviously, they cut Tua Tagovailoa. They also cut Bradley Chubb. They also traded away Jalen Waddle. They also traded away Mika Fitzpatrick, leaving a bunch of holes on this roster. But Izzy, which hole are they going to address first in this first round?
Oh, man. I believe, was it no more Tyreek Hill, no more Jalen Waddle.
He got released as well.
Yeah, no more Jalen Waddle, no more Tyreek Hill. So you have to start over. I'm going Jordan Tyson here down there in Miami. And I know that, they can go. Mansour Delaney is still there from LSU, but I got to go best wide receiver available, and that's Jordan Tyson at pick 11 for the Miami Dolphins.
I'm also staying at the wide receiver position. You lose too much talent in it. Yeah, all good. Malik Washington goes into this offseason as the number 1 wide receiver. You just paid Malik Willis a whole bunch of money, and you basically have gutted the roster around him as a guy who's kind of trying to prove himself that he's going to be a starting caliber quarterback in the National Football League. So it's tough. Going Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver out of the United States, out of USC, the Trojan, 5'11", 192 pounds, 79 catches last season, 1,100 yards, almost 1,200 if we're rounding. 11 touchdowns. He was probably the most prolific wide receiver in college football last season, that didn't go to like a small mid-major school that put up crazy numbers, which I'm sure that guy exists. But yeah, the guy, he had a great season last year, should make a clean transition to the National Football League, and should be a guy the Dolphins can rely on for 5 to 10 years. So Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC, going to the Miami Dolphins at number 11. From there, we got the Dallas Cowboys on the clock. They have 2 picks in this upcoming mock draft. They have this pick at 12, and then they also have the 20th overall pick. That pick came from the Green Bay Packers in the Micah Parsons trade. But looking at them, they have a bunch of needs, and one of them is glaring on the defensive side of the ball as they look to address that. And for some reason, the way this mock draft just kind of worked out, Dallas Cowboys get a blue chip player to fall all the way to them at number 12. That's where I have Sonny Styles going to him, probably the most prolific combine performance by any linebacker in the history of the combine. 6'5", 244 pounds, 88 tackles, 1 interception, and then he also had 1 forced fumble for him as well. Just an absolute game changer at the linebacker position. The defense has to be the number 1 priority for the Dallas Cowboys. They just gave up too much yards all over the place, and Sonny Styles becomes a steal at number 12 for the Dallas Cowboys. And many people are probably going to be kicking themselves for not taking him earlier, because the dude's going to be a stud immediately. Izzy, Dallas at 12.
Dallas at 12. Man, they have a few needs on the defensive side of the ball. I have a couple studs here still available, but I think I got to go with, your man earlier, Mansour Delaney from LSU. Right there, still in my draft is David Bailey, another edge rusher they can build on as well. But I just think, this team, needs, more defensive backs, in that backfield. I mean, they were one of the worst defenses last year in terms of that. And I know they, right now they're pretty, solid, I think, on the defensive line. Like you said, they have 2 first-round picks as well on the defensive line. You got, Kenny Clark in that. You got Quentin Williams. I mean,
And
you got Rashawn Gary.
We traded for Rashawn Gary too.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like the Green Bay Packers, they literally swapped teams, right? Pretty much, right? Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, and Marco Parsons is in Green Bay, so it's kind of weird. But I mean, this team definitely is going to need some help at the cornerback position. Kobe Durant, Deron Bland, Siobhan Ravel, who I think was the first round pick or the first cornerback for them last year. He was a draft pick last year, if I'm not mistaken. Kobe Durant's was a unrestricted free agent. He came over from LA. But I think you got to bring in another cornerback to that room. Especially Deron Bland was so hit or miss. I know he was injured last year, and I know he had that great year the year before where he had, like what was it, 6 or 7 pick sixes or something like that. But you're gonna need a guy, another more depth at that position, and I think that's the best player available at the cornerback position. So.
Moving on from there, going from pick 12 to number 13, you got the Los Angeles Rams on the clock, who dressed their secondary in a big-time way, stealing both the corners from the Kansas City Chiefs, one via trade and one via free agency. How do you got the Rams doing for this particular mock draft? 2.0.
Yeah. So right there, I think right now, I mean, the Rams are just absolutely monsters on both sides of the football. I don't particularly think they need anything much on the offensive end. I think on the offensive end, they're pretty solid. But I do think they continue to build that defense. And I think if they want to compete with, the Seattle Seahawks of the world and all these other teams that are great, the Niners, because the NFC West is a powerhouse. They're going to have to continue to build on that line. And I know that line is already ferocious. They go David Bailey, best player available left here. Why not? Right? You already got a crazy defensive line. You add another edge. You can never have too many edge rushers, David. Even though he's not a team need, he just makes sense if he's still there for the LA Rams.
If he's still there at 13, I took it. I had him at 10. I don't think he makes it to 10.
Yeah, he may not make it to 10. You're right. He may get picked before Ruben Bain. And if Ruben Bain falls to number 13, then LA picks Ruben Bain. I think they go, I think they may go. Depends on who's there.
I think if you're the Rams, you have the benefit of the fact that you look at your roster, you don't have player he needs. You're ready to go and compete for a championship tomorrow.
Exactly.
I will say one of their needs is probably at offensive tackle position. I'm going to have them go that direction in this particular mock draft. I have Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle out of Georgia, just a mammoth of a human being. Although the Georgia offensive tackles have not exactly panned out in the National Football League, but this is a superhuman human being that I think will be okay in the National League. 6'7", 315 pounds. They just don't make people like that very often. And, he was one of the most improved players in college football. Went from being a guy that was barely able to be on the field to a pretty good starter for Georgia in one season. So the sky's the limit for him at the tackle position.
Absolutely. He's a
from there, we got the Baltimore Ravens on the clock, who did a little bit of a boop skidoo on the Las Vegas Raiders, where they basically just a little bit, man, who knows? The Ravens at number 14, they have some needs there. Obviously, they lost Tyler Linderbaum. I'm going to have them going with an interior offensive lineman. I'm not really sure how to pronounce any part of this guy's name. Ola, I'm just going to call Ola is the first name, and Iona, I think is how you pronounce the last name. But he's an interior offensive lineman. He played mostly guard in college, so probably can't switch over to center. But I think it's such a need for the Ravens interior offensive lineman, as they lost a couple other pieces in their offensive line from Penn State. That's why I got the Ravens taking at 14. And the benefit the Ravens have, because they have other holes on this roster, the fact that they were able to, just kidding, the Raiders, they were able to get Trey Hendrickson without giving up this pick, and now they get to build their roster, which should be in playoff contention next season with what's his name? That's just Jesse Minter as that coach.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the Ravens can go. I think the defense is pretty solid. I don't think you can still add to this defense, but what are you going to add right now? Right now, we don't have. I mean, you could look at Akeem Messidor. Akeem Messidor is, that's like he's like a clone of Ruben Bain, and he's got longer arms than Ruben Bain. You could go that direction. You could go, like you said, Ola Lane. You could go Monroe Freeland, who is Spencer Fano, who's another guy at Utah. You could put him at guard or tackle. But I don't like any of those guys. I actually am going to go with a little bit of a reach here at 14, and I'm actually going to go with Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana, the wide receiver. I think that the Ravens need to build on that wide receiving core outside of Zay Flowers. Devontae Walker doesn't scare me. Rashad Bateman doesn't scare me. Add Omar Cooper Jr. He's a pretty, I think he's 6'1", 6'2", really strong wide receiver, great hands.
Just came 6 foot. This is a quote at TakeThePound.com. 6 foot, 199. 69 catches, 937 catches or yards, and 13 touchdowns last season for Indiana.
And he was the number, and him and Elijah Sherratt were the two top weapons for Fernando Mendoza. So I like Omar Cooper Jr. here for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. From the Ravens, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock at number 15. Pretty disappointing end to their season after they got off such a great start to end up missing the playoffs after losing basically 5 out of 6 games. And you beat Carolina in that final game of the season. You think you're going to make the playoffs, and then things just didn't shake out that way. Tampa Bay now picking at number 15. They have a bunch of needs. Mike Evans just is no longer on this roster. Izzy, who do you got the Buccaneers taking at number 15?
Yeah, man, it's tough, man. I mean, right now at this juncture on my mock draft, none of all the wide receivers are taken at this point. I
still wouldn't declare wide receiver as a major need. I mean, they still have Emeka Egbuka, they still have Chris Godwin, and they have what's his name, McMillan, who broke out last season and spent most of last year on the injury report, so he didn't get to play much until the very end of the season. So I don't necessarily think wide receiver is this.
They got the kid from Oregon as well, if I'm not mistaken. What's his name? Tez Johnson as well.
Yeah.
Caught a few deep balls as well. And I do like Jalen McMillan. Yeah. So like I said, there's no wide receivers and they don't really need one. I don't really think they even need a tight end. They got Cade Otton. I think at this juncture, I think you just need to keep adding, keep adding to that offensive line. He's still there. I'm going to go with Ola Loani out of Penn State. You need guard, you need more depth at guard, and I think right there the interior, you want to run the football with Bucky Irvin. Obviously health was a little bit of a concern down the stretch for Bucky, but you got to continue to build on that line and add depth, and can never have too many linemen and depth on the offensive line. So he's still there. You got to take him. So
yeah, I'm going to go a different direction for Tampa Bay. I'm going to swing on the other side of the football. I think the secondary leaves a lot to be desired. Antoine Winfield Jr. Is this free safety, but his corners, you have Zion McCollum, Benjamin Morrison, and Jacob Harris as your nickel. And nobody really else on this roster. Demarion Williams at the cornerback position. I'm going to go with the kid out of Tennessee. I had them taking Jerron McCoy, the corner out of Tennessee, and I do believe that he missed last season with an injury, but he was one of the best corners in college football a season earlier. So he missed all of last season with ACL. So he fully recovered there. He should be a absolute game changer. I don't remember what his combine numbers were, if he really showed out the combine, but he should be a plug and play starter for Tennessee, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. I mean, I think you got to continue to add on both sides of the ball. Defensive back is another, position where you can never have too many DBs. You can never have too many edges. You can never have too much depth at the offensive line position because, I'll say this, man, the injuries that happen in the defensive backfield sometimes are just mind blowing these days. So you can never have too many DBs back there. So. And he's one of the best DBs, probably second best cornerback in the draft. So,
on many people's big boards, he's the second best corner, even coming off that ACL tear.
Yeah,
and the technology that's like ACL recovery now it's not the death sentence it used to be.
Oh my gosh, you keep bringing up this damn technology of the ACL.
I mean, it's true, man.
I understand.
I mean, ACL tears used to be like career-ending injuries, devastating, but now it's like
back in the day,
still, I mean, it's still not great, but they can usually recover from it.
9 to 12
months. New York Jets on the clock at number 16. This pick came over in the Sauce Gardner trade. And as you may not like this, but I have the Jets taking Ty Simpson, the quarterback out of Alabama. 6'1", 211 pounds, 300 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 5 picks. He gets to sit behind Geno Smith for at least one season. There's no guarantee that the Jets are going to be able to have. I mean, you know what? Actually, it's the Jets, so maybe they will have a top 5 pick next season. But we don't know how things are really going to shake out. They're building other stuff around this roster. The wide receiving core is, we got Garrett Wilson. They're building a pretty solid offensive line. This guy could have an opportunity to be the guy there. Ty Simpson, quarterback, going to the Jets.
I don't like it because I feel like quarterback class next year. I think the Jets need to be in tank mode again this year. The quarterback class next year is. But
I also think that I don't given the. We're just gonna if Aaron Glenn has another bad season with the Jets at the head coaching position, it would not shock me if Woody Johnson, who's one of the worst owners in the league, pulls the plug. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, with the freaking overhaul they did on the defensive end with all those free agents, and Aaron Glenn's a defensive coach. I think they'll be fine defensively. Offensively is where the issue lies.
Last season, you and I had as many sacks or many interceptions as the entire Jets roster last season. 0.
That's a problem.
Ideal.
That's a problem. That's a
problem.
problem.
And by the way, if you had put $10 on that on one of those stupid betting sites, I think you would have won over $10,000 if you had made that bet. Yeah.
Oh well, Jesus Christ. And I know Sauce is in Indianapolis, obviously the trade mid-season. This is a position that I haven't even made a pick here. I just think you got to go best player available if you're the Jets. I mean, and on my board, right now they have every need in the book on the offensive side of the ball. Not sure, there's not a wide receiver, there's not a tight end that they can go. It would be crazy to go with an offensive tackle of sorts, and like I said, there's no wide receiver, there's no tight end here that's gonna make a difference for the Jets. I think they can probably possibly go get something maybe later, maybe in the second round, but I think right now you got to go best player available. And I'll go with the safety out of Oregon, Dylan Thieneman. Go with him out of Oregon. Continue to build that defense.
Another combine darling who had a really good performance at the combine.
Continue to build that defense. Aaron Glenn, just shut everybody out because your offense is not going to score a damn point this season. Rolling out that whatever offense you're rolling out. So.
From the New York Jets, number 17, we got the Detroit Lions. Talk about a fall from grace after the season that they had a season ago where they were 14-2 or 14, something like that, 15-2.
Yeah.
They ended up missing the playoffs this year with a winning record. Detroit Lions on the clock at number 17. They have a bunch of holes, and they really didn't address many of them in free agency, as Dave Montgomery is now gone, and they never really addressed the other edge rusher on the other side, and they lost some pieces on this offensive line. What do you got them doing here at 17?
Well, they brought in Isaiah Pacheco, so I mean that's it is what it is. I mean Jahmyr Gibbs and Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, yeah, I get it. I totally get it, Dave. I understand you. And I do agree with you on the edge rusher thing, and that's where I got to go Akeem Messidor right here for the Detroit Lions. I think Akeem Messidor is going to be a game changer from day one, just like Ruben Bain. All you guys got to do is just put the tape on. The kid just jumps off the tape. He had 10 plus sacks last season. He was a game wrecker in the college football playoffs. Honestly, I think when you look at it at number 17 and down the road 3-4 years, you're going to say that this was a high value pick for the Detroit Lions. I got Akeem Messidor on that defensive line.
Yeah, I'm going to swing it into I think their offensive line needs some big time help. I think that was one of the reasons that they struggled last season, as they just losing pieces on which was at one point an absolute dominant offensive line. But I'm going to have them go on Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle out of Utah. He's probably better than what he's being picked at number 17. Many people have him on their big board way higher than that, including Tankathon.com has him at number 10. So yeah, these are he should be a guy that's a plug and play starter. Number 10 on the NFL mock draft database.com as well. I wonder where Daniel Jeremiah has him at. 14 by Daniel Jeremiah over there at NFL.com. But yeah, they lost some pieces on this offensive line. They haven't really been able to replace them. They were going to bring back what's his name, but he didn't pass that physical. Larry Borum is now their starting left tackle. I don't think that's the recipe for success going into 2026. And this is a team. I mean, the Lions. I mean, the defense. Yeah, it's they need an edge rusher. That's no doubt. But this Lions team is going to probably go as far as this offense is going to be able to take them. And they got to keep Jared Goff ahead, upright. Just too many times last season, he was just getting killed in the backfield there. Going offensive tackle, going Spencer Fano, Utah.
Love it. I love it. And if I'm not mistaken, his arms were a little shorter on the shorter side for a tackle as well, right? Possibly.
I don't have that number right in front of me.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I thought they kind of projected him as a tweener tackle guard.
They do think he could play both positions.
Tackle and guard. Yeah.
But yeah, short arms, 32.5 inches. But I
like it for the Detroit Lions though. I like it. I love the pick. He's nasty in the run game. Utah is a running style team under when they had Kyle Whittingham. That's why he's in Michigan to turn it around in Michigan, the University of Michigan. But when he was at Utah, if Christian was here, he would say the same thing. Spencer Fano was a big part of why Utah was pretty decent last year, and that's because they're physical, in the trenches, smash mouth, north-south running football team. And what do the Detroit Lions want to do? They want to run the football with Jahmyr Gibbs. They want to be smash mouth. They want to be nasty on the offensive line, which is going to set up the play action pass. They got a quarterback that's probably the best play action artist in the game in Jared Goff. I don't think anybody sells a play fake better than Jared Goff. Everything that he does and the play action seems to look like a run, and then boop right over the top to those weapons on the outside. So, so I love the pick with Spencer Fano. So,
from the Detroit Lions, staying in the NFC North, but this time going up north to the Minnesota Vikings, number 18 on the clock. Obviously, they brought in Kyler Murray to be competition for JJ McCarthy. I guess Harrison Smith retired, but I haven't seen that anywhere. But I guess he's not technically on the roster right now for the Minnesota Vikings. They made plans to release him, but I have no idea if he's. He did get released by the Vikings, which is why I have them replacing one white safety with another white safety. I have them going Dylan Thiemann, the safety out of Oregon. Just an absolute combine darling, and absolutely should be able to. Maybe not, the leadership and all the other stuff that you get from a Harrison Smith, but in terms of athleticism and intangibles, I know you're probably pretty high on Harrison Smith, going from Notre Dame to the National Football League. But Dylan Thiemann, safety, Oregon Vikings, book it.
Harrison Smith going from Notre Dame to the Vikings to Kansas.
He's probably borderline Hall of Famer, if not.
Well, he ain't borderline hit. I think Hitman might be one of the best safeties in like this, like, you know, from like 2010 to 2025. I think in the last 15 years, probably he's got to be one of the most consistent best safeties in the league. I mean, every year after year, he was always up there being considered for All Pro. He was always up there as a Pro Bowler. Always, you know, I mean, I've never really seen him get injured. I mean,
he was pretty.
He's always an Iron Man, in my opinion. So, anyways, but yeah, I do agree with you. But since he's off my draft board, I'm actually going to go with the safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, out of Toledo. Another Toledo guy going. I know a Toledo guy.
Rocco, baby.
Yeah, Toledo guy won a couple years ago to the field. Quinyon Mitchell went to the Philadelphia Eagles a couple years ago, and then 2 years later, you got another Toledo guy, his former teammate. Well, I don't know if he's his former teammate. I got to look, you know, with NIL, David, we don't know where these guys come from. I got to do my research. Anyways, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is a standout safety. You know, he's got some great size. He's a pretty solid, ball hawk. He's got good range, great size, 6'2", 202. He's a really good in the run game as well, run support, and that's what they're going to need. Bringing up safety into the box and a guy that can crack over the middle. And Harrison Smith was a guy you're not going to replace that productivity. Borderline Hall of Fame or a Hall of Fame career, great range safety, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren could be a good start. So.
They played two seasons together at Toledo.
2 seasons together, okay.
2023 and 2022 and 2023.
Nice. Nice.
Moving on from there, we have the Carolina Panthers, and now we're getting into the playoff teams. 19th overall pick as they try to build on the success they had last season with Bryce Young showing some signs, some flashes of being a franchise quarterback. Who do you have them taking here at number 19?
Oh man, this is a tough one. I mean, we're getting into, honestly, I'm gonna have to go with probably best need here. I know that they're pretty solid on the offensive end. I mean, they could use more weapons, but Ted McMillan was a hell of a draft pick last year. You could use some more wide receivers, but there's just no wide receiver. You can get a wide receiver in the second round if you want to. A guy like Jeremy Bernard still there. Boston's still there from Washington. Will probably be there in the second round. I think that offensive line was pretty solid last year. The defense was pretty solid as well last year.
And they spent a lot of money in free agency on this defense. I mean, they brought in Devin Lloyd. They brought in Jalen Phillips. I mean, the secondary is already good with Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, Nick Scott, Terravon Morig at the safety positions. Like, they don't have a ton. Like, for a team that wasn't that good last season, like, sure, they made the playoffs, but they don't have a ton of needs. Like,
no, not a ton of needs in there. But if I am going to go with some depth for them, I'm going to actually go Caden McDonald out of Ohio State, the big defensive tackle there at number 19, because why not? This was the best unit in college football, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball. You can say whatever you want about Indiana winning a national championship, but the proof is in the pudding. There weren't any Indiana guys getting drafted in the first round besides Omar Cooper Jr. and Fernando Mendoza, obviously. But on that defensive side of the football, you might see some guys in the second round, but Ohio State was littered with NFL talent. This guy's a game changer. He's a pocket pusher, and he'll, from day one, I think the Carolina Panthers will love him. You can put him, right there at nose tackle if you want to, or either defensive end position, straight up head over in the TNT look out of the 3-4. So I do like Caden McDonald there at that pick. So I think he's the best defensive tackle in the draft, in my opinion.
The Carolina Panthers are the way this draft board shook out and the way that my mock draft shook out. They're running up to the draft board to take this guy at number 19. It's Kenyon Sadiq.
Get the fuck out of it. I'm sorry for my language, but holy shit, he's still on the draft board.
He's sitting there at 19. The Panthers have a major need at the tight end position. I mean, Jontavian Sanders cannot stay healthy. Tommy Tremble is more of a blocking tight end than anything else. Philippe Franks is just not an NFL player. And Mitchell Evans, I don't know a ton about, but they have a major need at tight end. This guy is just sitting there at 19. He fell pretty far in the draft, because you just look at it like the Bengals, yeah, they could take a tight end, but they have other needs. The Dolphins, they have the Dalen Waller there, but yes, they could take a tight end, but they have bigger needs. The Cowboys don't really need him. They have Ferguson. The Rams have a bunch on their roster. The Ravens have Mark Andrews. The Buccaneers, they have Kate Otten. And the Jets, I mean, yes, he could go there, but I think the Jets also have other needs, and I think they do like what's his name on that roster right now. Detroit, they have they have Laporta. The Vikings have TJ Hawkinson. And the Panthers, the way they just shook out, I mean, he's the best. He's the team player. He just shook out this way. And yeah, Kenyon Sadiq ends up becoming a Carolina Panther. He ends up becoming, Bryce Young's best friend. This is an absolute steal at 19. The dude had crazy combine numbers. I would be legitimately shocked. Like, if there's a team on the board somewhere, like picking later in the draft, and they're like, they got a phone call with the Jets, and like the Jets need more draft capital to move up and take this guy, because he's going to be one of the most sought after tight ends in a long time. He's gonna be like up there with Kyle Pitts for sure.
Well, dude, I think first of all, I had, what was my biggest value pick? Who did I say was the biggest value pick? Was Akeem Messidor. This for you would totally be the biggest value pick if he's still there and he gets taken by the Carolina Panthers. And he's totally a need, because outside of Ted McMillan, there's not a lot of weapons. I mean, Xavier Legette, as you have said over and over every week, is a bust. And he just has not panned out for the Carolina Panthers. And obviously, you can look at some of the other guys. Jalen Coker had a pretty solid season. Jimmy Horn's a deep threat guy. They added John Mechie III from New York in free agency. But if you can get a guy like Kenyon Sadiq,
like a fringe NFL player, let's be honest.
Yeah. Who?
John Mechie III. Like
John Mechie, yeah. He's like on his one foot in, 1 foot out, right?
Yeah.
You add Kenyon Sadiq to a pretty young and athletic tight end core with Tommy Tremble, Jatavion Sanders. I think and then you can, like I said, you can put Kenyon Sadiq a little bit everywhere. He reminds me a lot of Aaron Hernandez when he was on the Patriots, where you can kind of slide him out in the slot receiver.
I mean, he reminds me a lot of Evan Ingram when Evan Ingram was coming out.
Evan Ingram too, yeah, a little bit, yeah. So yeah, I love that pick for the Carolina Panthers. He's still there. So
to the final pick of this particular mock draft, is going to be doing the first 20 picks. As we get closer to the draft, we will expand this and do even more picks as we do mock draft 3.0. But this is pick number 20. We got the Dallas Cowboys on the clock. I'm going to go for the Dallas Cowboys. They still have some major needs at defense, especially at the linebacker position. I'm going to go C.J. Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia. Just an instinctual player, has the prototypical size, 6'1", 230, 88 tackles last season for Georgia, 3.5 sacks, 4 pass defensions, and then 2 forced fumbles at the linebacker position. Maybe a bit of a reach, but they just have this major need at linebacker. They have to address it here. But I also could see them going like Avion Terrell, who's the brother of
AJ
Terrell, who currently plays for the Atlanta Falcons. But that's what I got them taking, linebacker position. So
great minds think alike, because I got them taking CJ Allen as well for the same exact reasons as you. This is he just lands right there. Like you said, he's sideline to sideline. He's the third or fourth best third best linebacker in the. I think he's the third in this draft. He's the third linebacker taken in both our mocks, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, he's sideline to sideline guy, and those Georgia guys, they pan out in the league. Especially on the defensive side of the football. So you really, you can't miss on a Georgia defensive guy. Coached well by Kirby Smart, and CJ Allen's gonna give you a lot there in Big D. So I like that pick for them at 20.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. This has been our NFL Mock Draft 2026 2.0 edition. As we did the first 20 picks, let us know what you thought about any of our selections down in the comments section. I'm, of course, David On Point Humpin, right there, CEO Izzy Rivera. And please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast if you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World. Izzy, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go.
Bring the heat.
We will be back tomorrow, bringing you the UFL preview for week number 1, getting into the nitty gritty as the UFL is about to kick off. And then we're going to bring you on Thursday our WWE show as we continue to have the content rolling here at Prime Sports World. And we will see you guys all later. You all have a good weekend. Peace out, brother.
Peace out.